Hello. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Manoj.
Hey, morning, Reddy. All right. Let's give a few more minutes to people. Okay. While people are in, let's see, where are we? Let's give a couple of minutes. I think it's just 9:01 right now. Let's see. Is Samir here today? Okay. All right, let's start gathering the agenda. I was thinking if Samir joins, if that would be good. I was thinking that we have had discussion on the AI use cases last week a little bit. I wanted to see how we can translate that into deliverable for this year. And so I was going to suggest actually an update to the white paper that we had done last year, and then expand it to include the AI use cases that we are going to define. So I wanted to talk about that. Anybody else, any other agenda item that you want to discuss today? I could see from the agenda planning, we do have DC fabric orchestration. I don't know whether Reddy, you have anything that.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Definitely not for today, but I think it'll be just as an open. Let's talk about the OCP Global Summit as well. I don't know how many of you actually received the notifications.
Oh, it's a good point. OCP Global Summit. Submissions are open. Yes. Okay, let's talk about that. And also, I'm assuming that time we have Innovation Village. Now, what is the name? Latest name called?
Yeah, it's OCP Innovation Village, I think. No more experience center, I think, right?
Yeah, it's OCP Innovation Village. Okay. FMS, if there is any plan for us, also, right?
Yeah, I have FMS.
FMS submission dates I have not seen yet. I have not checked actually. And maybe they have already gone. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. Unless I have missed it.
I think their program is set, Manoj.
Okay. It's Flash and Memory Summit this time, right? Yeah.
Future of memory and storage.
Future of memory. Okay.
And you with me have a tutorial, a pre-conference all
That's the
afternoon.
day before, right?
Day before. Yes, sir.
Yeah, day before. Oh yeah, the day 0 or whatever. Okay. Okay, so that agenda is August 6th, so that's quite coming soon now. Okay, anything else that we want to add to the agenda? Let me share my document here so people can see it. Okay. Pankaj, we have a day 0. It's called, what is it called?
It's called professional development, something. I'll look up and tell you, Manoj.
Okay, but our track, the name for that I forgot it.
Disaggregated memory. CXL disaggregated memory in data centers.
Okay, so the JEDEC has also plan for a presentation, or I think it's going to be kind of it's a joint presentation.
Which companies are doing it, Manoj? Do you know?
I'm trying to see. So I'll be there on that. I think Samsung is there, Micron, Synopsys, and Cadence.
Okay. Is this the DDR5 focus or DDR6?
All of multiple things basically overall.
It will include all
so it will have DDR, LPDDR,
LP. Okay.
RDIMM, LP, CAM, CXL, SSD,
Okay.
UFS, all of it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I'll pitch for our CMS work there.
Okay.
In fact, I have checked and they are fine with it. JEDEC is fine. We'll put it in the context of our work. And did I miss anybody? Synopsys, Cadence, Micron, Samsung. Yeah, that's the names that I have so far. And Qualcomm, I'm assuming. It's the coordinating, so I'm not sure whether it's presenting.
And Manoj, the FMS thing is called Professional Development Seminars.
Okay.
And our session is called CXL for disaggregated memory and accelerators in the data center. Yes.
Okay, cool. Any other event that anybody knows and is planning to attend or we should be attending? Okay. All right, let's get to any other agenda item. Otherwise, we can start with OCP Global Summit. So this has been announced, I think, right, ready? The submissions are invited already?
Yeah, it's already announced. The deadline for, I mean, there are basically two different tracks, as you guys know. One is the Global Summit breakout sessions, which is one track, and the other one is FTS track, Future Technology Symposium.
Yeah.
The deadline is actually different for the breakout session and FTS.
Okay.
Trying to see what the deadline is. It says see below. I think the key thing is that we do not have. Last year we had a special. We had our own CMS track, breakout track. Currently, it's been merged under the server project. And then they have special sessions on the photonics, AI, market impact and supply chain, Open RAN. Everything else is actually bundled under OCP project. So I think we have 3 different choices to make when we actually submit. Either we can submit in the breakout sessions or future technology symposium, or in the breakout sessions, there are at least 2 options for us. Server project, which is where we belong under. The other one is actually the AI session for the special projects. Those are the 2, at least, that closely resemble with what we do. So I think whoever is submitting, they will essentially need to decide where it actually makes sense. For example, just thinking loud on this one, the academic research, ideally you want to look at the future technology symposium to start with. Just because of the fact that we don't have our own track, it becomes very difficult, from an acceptance perspective. So it may make sense to have it there as opposed to, server project as an example. The AI specific work stream probably makes better sense with the AI special session in the breakout track as opposed to the server, because 1, we get a lot more attendance in the AI track just based on what I've seen in the regional summit. 2, it has high relevance. 3, it actually encourages other people to participate in the work that we are doing. The remaining things probably make sense to bundle under server project, and then we probably have to fight for certain number of slots. Manoj, between you and me, we probably have to go figure that out. Right?
So last time I remember actually, we didn't have a special CMS submission itself, but based on the submissions we had, it ended up being a separate
track. I don't know if it was triggered after or before. I don't recall.
After, because I think submission was still under server. Everything was under server. I don't know because Bijan is online. Yeah.
Bijan, is that true?
Yeah, composable memory system has actually graduated. I think everybody realizes how important it is. I think it is for you as sub-project leads. It's just a matter of asking Bijan and others, nicely, of course. And it's very likely you will get your own session.
Yeah, that's how it happened last year also. We had many submissions which ended up basically separated out in a room. But originally when we submitted, there was no CMS as a slot.
Okay, good point. I somehow thought we had one to start with. Okay, I mean, if that is the case, we can all submit it in the project then, right? If we,
we should
and then
submit under server
we'll figure it out later. Yeah.
Yeah, right, correct. I think that would make it easier for us to.
My pool is sturdy.
Can you guys go on mute, please?
Somebody needs
I want
to mute.
you to go on the 3rd floor.
View, I think, mute.
A big splash.
It's like a big splash.
I want
Can
you
we
to
actually
do that on
mute?
a soapboard.
Do you want to mute?
And then you jump off. I want you to do that.
I think it is allowing me to mute. But,
it doesn't allow me to mute either.
You're a host?
We have to figure out. Yeah, it doesn't, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah. So I think, let's do the, I mean, let us actually submit under the OCP project for all the CMS submissions, and then we'll figure out the best way to move it around if need to be, but we'll essentially, look for our own track. The submission closure for the Global Summit breakout sessions is actually June 21st.
Okay. So we can collect our topics by week after next, maybe at least.
Right. FTI, it says it's already closed. I don't know why. That's strange.
For
Call
FTI,
for papers is closed. Oh, okay. It is June 21st.
FTS also.
Both are due June 21st. Sorry. Yeah.
For now, maybe we can just take it together because we have done it last time also. Sometimes
Let's do that. Yeah.
Let's get all of it under CMS, and then we can redirect it to FTS or any other group that deems right at that point. Then after, once we have all the under server, basically we'll submit all under server. At least we'll encourage people to submit under server. If we get all the list, we can do it ourselves also, submit them on their part.
Right. Yeah, I think Pankaj, when you actually connect with the FTS work that is happening, let's make sure we have a consistent story on both sides, both in the FTS track as well as the breakout session track, on work they are doing and work we are doing. To make
Manoj,
sure that it is synergistic.
It's sorry, Reddy.
Go ahead.
Who are you asking me to coordinate this with?
So this is the FTS team that is actually doing AI specific computational offload, right? I forgot the name.
Well, there's the AI hardware software co-design group, which I'm involved.
Is that the one that is targeting?
And then there's the data-centric one that Yang Soo Ki was responsible for that I have no visibility into.
They are the ones I have met, Brian. Thanks for pointing that out. I do attend and plan to attend later today, the meeting of the co-design, but I don't go to every meeting.
Yeah, it's not the meeting. It is just submissions and the content that goes into submissions. We just need to make sure.
Well, maybe we should take it offline because I'm sure the OCP, the FTI group that I'm part of, want to submit their own AI kind of stuff too. So
which is fine. Which is fine. I'm not saying they should not or they should. It's just that we just need to have the work that is happening on both sides need to have a very consistent storyline when it actually goes on, gets presented for the broad audience.
Another aspect is because these things go in parallel concurrent sessions, they don't want to split the audience. So as a matter of fact, maybe as team leads, as project leads, maybe you can coordinate so you don't have too many individual sessions. Maybe line up the whole thing as one full day. So that's very clear.
Right.
I think that may be a good idea,
true.
Right?
That's a very good idea.
Last time we did it, right? Let's get all the list together and then have the submission that night, and then give heads up to Bijan also and server team also that, hey, these are the number of submissions that we are getting. Perhaps it may be a good idea to keep it the way we had done last year, where we get, if we get enough submissions, by the way, that's another important thing, that we need to get enough submissions. Otherwise we'll just go with the flow. But if we do get, let's say 10 submissions, then I think it naturally will fall into the category like what we did last year with CMX help, where try to accommodate as many as possible in one room that we have, and otherwise find the right home for the remaining ones.
And then ready for your action. What I suggest, because Oscar and Brian are in this meeting, Oscar is well connected with the DCI effort and Brian with the AI effort. So following this meeting, I'll initiate an email thread so we can coordinate and get back to you on what our plans are about.
Awesome.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I think the other thing is the FTS track. Previously, it used to be, it wasn't overlapping, specifically the breakout session with breakout sessions. Right now, it overlaps with day 2 of the breakout sessions. So it's important, like CMX said, we just need to make sure they're not really overlapping, for at least during the time when we are actually presenting certain, topics that have the common, themes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
and if I would see the FTS criteria also. Sorry, Brian, go ahead. Saying something.
Oh no, I was just going to point out. I would not. I mean, I like what Manoj is proposing because I wouldn't be. It sounds like there's some changes in the FTI leadership right now, and so I would not necessarily depend on them, but move forward with your plans, and then if you need them, then you can rendezvous with that as things get clearer.
Right.
Sound like what we had done last year, right? And a couple of research papers had come to our group, and then we had redirected it to FTS, or sometimes we had to redirect it to the CX. There was a separate CXL tracks we had redirected there. So I think once we have all the visibility of how many we have, what content it is, and what we can accommodate, I think we can redirect. I think we can just follow the last year's model if that works for, right, Reddy?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm totally cool with that. The second topic is really the innovation village demos. So I was already approached by a couple of folks. So if you have any specific innovation demos, please start planning now. And then I will actually post a spreadsheet with all the demos being planned out. Whoever wants to submit, they can just add it to the spreadsheet. So we have a laundry list of demos that are being targeted. And as we get closer, we can actually figure out, the tables and the spacing and all that stuff.
Yeah. I don't know whether we have. Yeah, by the time, this time, I think we can have a larger team than what we had last time, or at least more working demos. We had pretty good number last year, but I think this can go up this year with more CXL capabilities available on the devices. And hopefully we may also get some more benchmarks also in there. I see Vikrant, you're there, and Nara, you guys are also working on more AI workloads. So hopefully we can get some of it maybe demonstrated in this year.
Yep.
Right.
So is there a deadline for the innovation demos? Is it like
it typically tends to be very late? So normally we have a bit of flexibility there, Brian. So but I wouldn't wait too long, right?
Yeah, I was just wondering if the same deadline. You have this June 21st deadline for.
No, it's not. It's not. It just comes very late. So I would say probably like 6 to 8 weeks before, and we have a lot of wiggle room to move things around. I think only towards a later point, like 6 weeks or so, where they actually have to finalize and then have the logos and everything done, there is a pressing need to close it by then.
Okay, yeah, it's good to get a time in there. Thanks.
Yeah, I will check with them on exactly the timing.
Okay.
So
last year,
this year, Manoj, just quickly following up on Reddy's topic. There is some of the memory vendors are choosing to make their computational memory platform available for demos. So those for the CXP team, I have just begun those discussions. And if there is anybody on the call today who have something that they want can be used by software people to do the computational memory demos, please let us know. There is members here and elephants who are kind of the software people who are interested in that. And then if there's any platform people, let us know and we will surface that to the whole team so that anybody who wants to contribute either on the hardware side or software side can make plans now on the experience innovation village.
Yeah, right. I don't see Pecan.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Pecan, you will probably be interested, right? Yeah.
Yes. I'll work with Pankaj, and I think I know my members team as well. So let's sync up offline because the hardware is almost getting ready from our side, and we should be able to get you some hardware to start preparing for the demo.
Actually, Pecan, from your side, the discussions I had were with Jim Dworkin. So great. You might want to catch up with them internally. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thanks, Pankaj.
So we can start creating the categories, I think, right, ready. So that
absolutely.
We can maybe bundle them in the village properly also.
Right, yeah.
A quick note here, just for tracking purpose, Manoj and Reddy. Last time we did not had a banner for composable memory solutions, or probably it would be good.
No, we did. Even in the regional summit we had. We did.
So I may have missed it, but
we had our
I think
own, innovation.
It will be great to have a more of a marketing banner for CMS side.
And with the companies participating as well, we had that actually.
Okay.
Yeah. We will continue the same.
For that, probably one of the leads should submit such a broad kind of a thing, and then later you figure out who's going to go there, because they need to have a time slot and some sort of session, maybe have a bookmark for you. You don't have to be too verbose, just provide a small abstract and say, we're going to have a panel session. So it goes into the schedule. Just do it. Yeah. Just do it now. We don't have to think about it. Just do it. And then later it will find beef to go around it.
That reminds me, actually, our CMS logo on the workplace. I mean, Wiki is a very generic one we are using right now.
I know.
So if we can create something, then we can at least get stickers and keep them ready across all of them to pick up.
Yeah.
So anybody with a creative mind, if you want a crack at CMS logo, that would be awesome.
We just ask
and then we probably need to ask
GPT or
OCP.
some Gen AI model to do it. I'm sure they'll.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Let's have that some multimodal one. Yeah. GPT-4, I guess.
No, we have the Gemini at work. I'm sure.
Gemini. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe,
I can.
Yeah. Give it
Disaggregated memory. Yeah.
If you can create a logo, then I think I can print stickers in Meta.
All right. Let me take a stab. I'll send some options or whatever comes out.
That would be
You need
awesome.
to use Llama then.
Llama 2.
3's out, so
No, gotta use 3.
3, sorry. Yeah.
It's difficult to keep track right these days. Okay, all right. So I think this is good. Anything else from the OCP summit planning? I think these are the key things. I think in next 2 weeks we need to get all the submission topics at least identified, and the abstracts and the presenters. At least one presenter.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, all the work stream, activities should technically show up as at least a minimum of one. More is better.
Okay, so by next week, I think we'll make a list at least, finalized by week after.
Yep, let's do that.
Okay.
So you're gonna push a Google Sheet out to sign up ideas.
Yeah,
Okay.
that exactly. Yes.
Manoj, did you already talk about the AI use case update to the white paper? Maybe I missed it. Sorry.
No, not yet. Actually, I was going to talk about it, but we got into this one. I can get into it now. I didn't see Samir. I didn't want to surprise him and just give him work, but if he's not here, we'll give him all the action items. Right. Okay. Anything else? Discussion for the Global OCP Summit?
Hey, Manoj, I'm here in case.
Hey, Samir is here. Oh, shoot. I can't give you all the okay. All right.
But
apart from that,
Manoj, one question here, right?
Yeah.
At a high level, last year there was OCP. There was a lot of CXL memory activity, right?
Yeah.
What additional thing you want to showcase this year?
I think this last year, actually, we had shown some expansion boards, and now we should get it into much more broader demonstration in the innovation demos. Under the submission.
You mean the CXL track, or you're talking about just the demos, Samir? CXL track versus the breakout track, because they had a CXL track after the summit, and then the breakout track. Are you talking about that, or just the demos?
I'm talking. See, demos we cannot control, right? Meaning whoever has something
is ready. Yeah.
But at least at the discussion level, presentations, we have to really think, right? What additional content we are bringing this year.
This should reflect what we have talked in the tech day, right? So the output of each work stream deliverables should somehow show up in the presentations.
I think what Samir you are asking also, just to I don't think that really you provide the answer there, but just to put it in the context, we kind of follow the breakout session typically has plan for the work, which has almost a year lag between what gets demoed. What we are demoing this year perhaps is something that we have been talking for last year and a half. This year, I think, as Take Day showed, there was a lot more focus on new use case for memory expansion that people have brought out with whether it's a compression or whether it is a near memory compute, but that still can happen into the demo also. But I think AI is really going to be the main area, I think, just based on the discussions we had during Tech Day also. So AI use cases, any benchmarks and workload and benchmark enhancement that we talked about, system architecture changes that we're going to do to include the AI. And then, of course, there's CXP related work that translates into enabling those use cases.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming all that work will come up into this, the breakout session, or what you're calling to call it. Short answer, I think, is a lot of it is around the AI use cases, because general compute use cases we have maintained already. But even in that area, I'm expecting more work as we start tuning it down to specifical adoption point of use cases. So I think let's get the topics and then we'll and see how that goes. But at least minimally, we should have what we had discussed during the Tech Day.
Okay. Just perhaps to add to that, of course, at OCP Summit, report out on current work is what people expect, especially if there's data around it or some demo associated with it. That's, of course, very good. But please don't be too shy about talking about future work in progress, or maybe a couple of ambitious things, because as you keep talking about it, it's good to get feedback even before the work starts. So let's just have at least maybe one or two topics like that.
A very good point. I wanted to get into some of that, at least, as we looked into those use cases, they are going to bring out some challenges, which actually are going to become inputs for us to think more further going outwards. But yeah, I think, Samir, I think you wanted to get that idea so that when we start discussing the list, we have some kind of boundaries around it, or at least the goals for it, I think, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Manoj, very quickly, I discussed this with Samir also yesterday. I think to the extent that AI interconnects for scale up and scale out, such as you outlined, have new requirements. One of the more important hanging question is which ones will carry the CXL protocol and which ones will carry some other protocol. So I hope that as you pick this up, from my point of view, at least you can answer from a requirements and AI use case perspective, what is the desire?
Yeah, no, I agree, completely agree. In fact, that's when we start going to the use case, I wanted to start putting the structure there so that we can put it, because we have actually spent, it goes to maybe point CMAC also was making. In last year, we have gone into some of the use cases to dig further than before, and now we understand some more constraints and challenges that we'll face with the existing solutions and why the new solutions are evolving. And I think by the time we go to the Global OCP Summit, I'm sure there'll be more solutions that will emerge. So we want to make sure that we put down the requirements for that and have a way to influence those, especially on the interconnect side. Yeah, so there has to be a presentation. We think we need to plan for that, and we did have kickoff of that during the Tech Day. So I think I'm expecting, Samir, that I think that will evolve and have that more setting out the goals for the AI systems.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. We have to keep all multiple interconnects that are coming out. Right?
Exactly, they're going to be there, and they need to be put it in the context from what do we want from it. Yeah. Like if you said, hey, we have talked about CXL, how it can help. But if you say that, hey, but if CXL had challenges, we have started talking about CXL challenges, which either CXL or any upcoming interconnects may try to address. Okay, 9:34. Anything on the global OCP? I think we have a good plan. I'll create a sheet and put it out there right now. We can pre-populate, I think Reddy, Samir, all of us basically, Brian, as well as
Let's do
Pankaj,
that. Yeah.
all of us basically populate based on our take day content and then expand it, because last year actually we were surprised with a lot more content than what we had discussed. There was quite a lot of good content that came in there. So all the people who are working on these areas, please do feel free to add. And we have had a very good discussion this year. I've had a couple of them, and we have had multiple presentations that came from compression point of view, etc. 0 Point, I think, had it. Yeah, a lot of these are good work. There's a lot more cabling side discussions. There's a cooling side discussions in this space. So please do bring in that content here. So we'll put out that sheet. Okay. All right. Let me move to any other events later. If people come in, please do add it to the document. If anything that you are representing or you think we should be representing, there is an important event. Please do add that to the list. Let me talk about proposed end user document. So I was thinking of the what we have. How do we go and provide an end user use cases update? So one thought I had, and I wanted more for a discussion, we could put out a new document that has the white paper updated for the end user use cases. This is what we had published last year, which talked about different use cases from end user perspective and goes into the details of each one of them. One of them had AI/ML inference use case. And my thought was, and this is more up for discussion, we could take the same white paper and have an update this year. Or we could publish a separate white paper just focusing on AI/ML. And I wanted to have first thoughts from the team. My thought was basically we go and update it, put it in the new structure that we are thinking about, and then inference, the way we had talked about last year, becomes a subset of that. Maybe let me just jump to it and show how I was thinking. So right now, if you see AI/ML inference just jumps into a specific use case of inference, goes a little bit more details, talks about DLRM that Meta had brought forward as use case, and how we use this. In our discussion point of view, we had talked about CPU-centric versus GPU-centric design. This is a very CPU-centric design in the sense the memory expansion was still for memory expansion for CPU used indirectly from the accelerators. I was thinking maybe now we can start putting back into the structure that we had talked about, which is GPU-oriented designs, which expands the memory for GPU or accelerator through CPU attached, through accelerator attached directly itself, or fabric attached where you're accessing the accelerator attached memory or the fabric attached memory. And then inference becomes subset of that. For example, CPU attached, if you think of it, has a further memory expansion, which is how we had talked about, that GPUs access the memory over interconnect for the CPU, and then CPU has tiered memory, which is a DDR plus CXL attached memory. So we can make what we have discussed here as a subset of that and consolidates this section in an appropriate way. So that was a thought I had. Do we update the current white paper or do we publish a new white paper? Was a first question to be asked.
Yeah, I was thinking we should have a new paper, given there is the system architecture and the use cases were built on top of it. I think the flow will go better. That's my suggestion.
Manoj, I second Vikrant on that. It looks, the system architecture looks sufficiently different that we should do a new one.
Okay.
Aside from should we have another paper or not, categorization of this, we can think of it as different viewpoints. Workloads, inference versus training or others, of course, is one way of looking at it. But if we are building systems, you can look at it from the other opposite side. Say, okay, do I have enough memory on one device or do I need more memory? Could I benefit from using tightly connected interconnect, or could I use distributed interconnect? Could I benefit from sharing memory or not? And then, of course, there's an exercise of mapping workloads to these other physical attributes. I think if we do that, that will be great service to people.
I think, yeah, we can definitely, that's a great suggestion, all three of you guys. One is basically, let's not try to expand what it is there. That white paper is published. Let's not complicate that. Focus on the AI use case. I don't know, maybe Vikrant, you meant only AI, but let me just take that from there and then expand. So take from the AI use case and see, you're suggesting that let's start with the requirements from the system level requirements, what these AI use cases are driving, and then connect it here to various ways of providing that and go into the details of what exactly that would enable, what the solutions could be, and what the challenges are from the system level perspective for the end user to adopt it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Again, the reason I'm suggesting that specifically within an OCP context is that OCP teams are people who are building things and they would like to have many customers for them. The more general purpose it is, the easier it is to qualify and place them into market. And that's why we as a big team need to bring that perspective into this equation. If we leave it to the users, to the application level AI algorithm people, they will customize everything to its fullest. And that's good. Let them do that. We are part of that team as well. Let that have you, but then let's marry it to the system level with a little bit more general purpose viewpoint to consolidate them.
Yeah.
I think we should provide some transparency into the software stack as well, right? I mean, if we're targeting LLM as an example, how does the LLM get served to the end user, right? Is there some kind of LLM engine? Is there an abstraction? How do the tensors get placed across the different tiers of memory? And are there other orchestration software needed to optimize the performance?
Yeah. Okay. So I think we will have the first section that talks about I'm sure we should be able to get that from the end user perspective, at least. This is something that we easily bring to the table, and we have started talking about it already. Microsoft has talked about it. Meta has presented it. We can go into the further details, and I think when we talk about need for memory expansion, how we currently use existing capacity and why we think we will expand it. This is double clicking into the memory wall problem that everybody has the data for. But then when we say, hey, we need more memory, how are we using existing memory, how that memory roadmap is looking right now, and why we think we need to expand it going beyond the GPU, beyond the accelerator. And we can provide that verbiage here. And I think the software point is interesting. Yeah, yes, but we need to think about how do we bring it, because in general compute we were able to connect it with the open source software with transmit patch placement. I'm just have to think about how do we bring it about here, because a lot of that is actually inside the GPU or inside the accelerator, the tiering. Except in the inference use case, which was secondary tiering. So it was easy to talk about there.
So I think, Manoj, it will be good to actually look at this from maybe 3 or 4 different angles. One is just based on where we are with the current state of what's available today, right? So you have a GPU that's not CXL capable, or the AI accelerator, to be very precise, that's not CXL capable, right?
Yes.
You essentially have host-based memory that essentially you can have CXL attached as well as the system DRAM, right?
Yeah.
What is that we can do for AI use cases to tap into that implementation that is available today? right? So that's one element. So this is purely memory expansion. The second element is on top of that, if I have dot cache capability in the accelerator, what does it look like, right? And then on top of that, if I have a completely disaggregated and just hanging off of the switch, what does it look like? The challenge will be that just the accelerator having that type of CXL aware implementation is going to lag quite a bit, which may be a good thing to say that is absolutely needed for us to tap in, is also a good way to actually disposition it if there is a way for us to get there.
I completely agree. In fact, when we start getting into it, that's the kind of thing I don't have verbiage prepared here yet. But if you think of just first step that you talked about, if you're going to do CPU attached memory expansion, I have two open fabrics that are available are PCI and CXL. And we can go into the details about, first of all, how we can do that and what's the kind of bandwidth requirement, and we can connect it to what individual requirement would be based on what's my native memory, what's my tier memory bandwidth, and what do we need at a physical level. But the challenges, as you said, is based on a given solution, it has a different challenges. Whether it is a PCI or versus CXL, as you said, CXL basically has to use something that can go and access the host memory, which basically means you need something that can go device to host, which basically brings us to some specific set of solutions right now. And we can compare the performance trade-offs between PCI and CXL if I use CXL.cache, etc. But I'm not going to go into the details of that analysis necessarily, but at least identify from end user perspective where we see that comparison is today.
Yeah, I mean, if the use cases can actually say that there is a benefit in actually tapping into the additional memory bandwidth and capacity expansion through the CXL devices coming out of CPU complex, whereas accelerator is not CXL capable, that in itself is a big deal.
Right. And then if it is going to be CXL capable, then what are my options? What are my options?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Right. I agree completely. And then we have the other. So that's the structure I was going to still stay with what Samir and I presented as a, how do you say, structure or the categorization of memory expansion for AI, whether it is CPU attached, accelerator attached, or fabric attached, and within fabric attached, two further subcategories of accelerator to accelerator and accelerator to pooled or shared memory. But we can discuss as we go along. That's how, Samir, does that sound right? Also, representation of what we have talked so far.
Oh yes, Manoj. Yeah.
And there may be things that as we start looking into it, I think perhaps you may want to bring in, and then we can identify them here.
Yeah, there is another thing, right? There is this whole CXL fabric attached memory. There is a separate work group under CXL. I'm not attending those, but if there is any new development, please bring it here. Otherwise, I don't see that coming or going anywhere.
Which one you are talking about? CXL fabric attached memory group under OCP?
No, not under CXL consortium. There is a fabric attached memory, right? And they have this vision of big tree level structure and many terabytes of memory connected to many nodes, right? The Gen Z concepts.
Okay. Maybe then we need to bring that in here. Maybe I'm missing it.
Samir, as I understand, that group is focusing mostly on the management and the software aspects of it. I have not, maybe I've missed it, but I mean, I have not seen the hardware aspect of it being discussed actively.
Right. So my point is there is a discussion happening on that front a lot, but there is no ecosystem development, at least on the hardware side, and no good use cases yet. So maybe we should bring that point here. Are we just discussing for the sake of discussing, or there is something?
Which one you're talking about? Fabric attached, you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you think the fabric attached doesn't have. That's why I wanted to make sure that we talk about challenges also.
We need to bring good stories as well as some challenges, right? So so that people can focus on the right stuff.
Yes.
If you wish to approach it that way, perhaps to help everybody, to add the insights that you guys have, we can say certain things work, certain things don't work, and what should things do so that they do work. For example, the point that Samir mentioned is that there are a lot of spec work, not much systems. Immediately after that, we could say, well, for us to be able to enable these things, we need item number A, B, C. We need analysis in this and this and that. We need cost analysis or performance analysis, so that we enable new work to be done and direct new work in the area that make things happen. Because whoever is thinking about certain things not working has thought enough to say, yeah, if it were me, that's how I would do it.
Simek, was there a presentation at CXL DevCon that can be repeated here? I think that Samir, that's the kind of thing Samir is asking. And I also think it's a good idea.
Yeah, well, maybe what I'm thinking is this. Okay, maybe I'll put my thoughts here. Is that, yeah, so there's been a lot of work that's been done to define from the architecture point of view, the fabric architecture, and now they're focusing on software management aspect, right? So, but there are folks, particularly folks from HPE and other companies that have been championing the concept. So maybe we just reach out to Sridhar, who is the workgroup chair, and say that, put out this call there, that some people from that group may want to participate in this forum and bring out the use cases, particularly probably from HPE and few other companies could come here and talk about it in one session.
Very good point, Milan, but I would caution some work is being done under consortium work or special interest groups and such that are not public. And OCP, everything's public. So maybe we can redirect your question or your ask to those teams, to their company. So, well, you company are doing this kind of work. What would you like to bring to OCP and share it with the rest of the world? Because if you ask that question of the consortium, it is very unlikely they can provide it to you.
He can just make maybe an announcement there, right? Like, he can just let other people know, or we can send out, right, to note to that group saying any member companies there who want to present their use cases here in this forum. Maybe just that,
I think perhaps that's what CMAC is suggesting, that, if any of you guys are participating in that group, right, you can let people know that, hey, CMS is a good place to discuss if anything that wants to be discussed in an open forum.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
That would be helpful, actually. So if you are participant, please do maybe see if somebody can come in here. But coming back to today's topic, I wanted to say is basically then we wanted to put this from the end user use cases, what the requirements are, and what categories that we are looking at it, various solutions from, and what the challenges that we see in each one of them is what I think, Samir, that we want to put in this section, right?
Does this also encompass, for example, IPU, DPU?
If anybody has those
GPU
brought
kind
forward
of
as
flows, or that is?
It could be. It just, I think right now we have only Meta and Microsoft have talked about how we think. But if somebody has use cases that they would like to bring it up from the end user perspective and then contribute here, this is the perfect place to contribute that.
Okay.
I think some people are looking at this CXL.cache for IPU, DPU. Yeah, that can be a good addition as well.
Yeah, somebody has to bring forward a little bit more details if we can. That will be awesome, because I think Samir and I have talked about more from the, we know how from the accelerator use cases at Meta and Microsoft. And we'll contribute this here. And if anybody wants to contribute more, please do. bring up, let's have a discussion and then make it to the white paper then. Because the whole idea is basically to want to make sure that we have enough end user representation of how people want, what problem we are trying to solve, how we think we are looking at solutions, and what we think are the challenges, so that everything else can follow those use cases when the solutions are being defined. So I think it's still for us, I think, so Samir will take the action item, and Vikrant also, if you also think about from your side use cases for AI, we'll start populating this. I'm going to carve it out as a separate paper. Right now I had just taken a copy of the old paper. I'm going to take this and make a copy, remove it, the remaining structure, and make it AI use case specific from based on the recommendation. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay, then we'll take a crack at that. Samir will work on it and then bring it back here. We'll get specific contributions onto this working. Our timeline is still seems, let me see where we are. I know we had very aggressive timeline.
Correct. You remember, Manoj, on the tech day, we also said if there are memory vendors who want to bring near memory compute.
Yeah, we haven't had, so yes. So you're asking whether this should be in this paper? Is that what you're asking, or near memory compute related to AI is what you're saying, asking?
Yes.
Okay, so I was thinking maybe at least this section we keep this end user use cases perspective. So if you think we have a solid use cases for near memory compute, we can put it in here. If the solutions come in, they may or may not be related to the use cases. I think we have a separate section for that. That's what I was thinking. I don't know, maybe I missed your point, Samir.
No, I think the point was more on the use cases for near memory compute. What I mean by near memory compute is people are throwing a lot of risk scores closer to the memory, right? So what are the use cases for that? Specifically, I have seen it coming from memory vendors at a couple of conferences. So
okay, so if somebody can bring
come out and say which use cases you have in mind for this, it will be a good educational thing for everyone.
Yes, Samir, just to underscore your point, I think almost everyone is looking at LLM RAG, and then there are some others. So definitely, this can be developed. I know that there is at least one very solid use case that most memory vendors are now acknowledging.
Oh, okay, so then for the use cases right now, we do have Meta and Microsoft signed up for bringing this up. If anybody else wants to bring up for the, so far what we know, that will be good. Just add the name, send the content in, we can work on it. For memory vendors bringing use cases, also we need somebody who can come in and have a contribution. So Pankaj, if you know the use case that somebody's working on, can you work with them to bring it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think most vendors are public with their use cases. And Brian, I'll need your help with Micron. But in terms of Samsung and Hynix, I can bring that. I'm also presenting at Micron. Date is being finalized, so I'll try and get this done soon.
Yes, if we need basically somebody who can, some companies who are going to elaborate or at least clearly spell out what those use cases are, what they need to drive, and not, so there are two parts, right? One is a use case and second is the solutions. And that's the thing which I'm trying to maybe bring slight distinction here, that we want to make sure that somebody can bring forward the use cases, and then we can have a separate discussion on the solutions also.
Manoj, the way I'm thinking is platforms and software make solution for a use case. So if we could partner with memory vendors on the platforms that they are surfacing, and then whoever is doing the enabling software work, that can be part of the describing a solution for a use case. Okay.
Agreed. maybe just one more, you were saying that I want to make sure that we can establish a use case also. There are two different things. A solution could justify some use case. And second thing is that somebody saying that, hey, I have a use case. This is how we want to adopt things. So both directions we want to come. I think what you're suggesting is basically, I have a solution and this can solve a particular use case. Does anybody have a use case, right? That's great. But it will be good also to say, if company X comes and says that, hey, here is how we think we can use near memory compute. And I thought, Samir, perhaps, is that where you are going, or you're saying what Pankaj is saying, which saying that, hey, can at least the memory companies bring forward solutions that they are thinking about what use cases that they can enable? So because there are slightly different approaches there.
The second part that you just said.
Okay. Then let's bring that forward. Let's have a discussion at least to start within our group. So if we can maybe schedule like maybe in the next 2 weeks, because I think we want to have this white paper goal is August to be ready for that, which basically means we have next 2 months to prepare this.
Right. And Manoj, I want to underscore that I am a servant of this item. So I will collect information and represent it, faithfully. But I do want Samsung, Hynix, Micron representatives, for example, or any SOCs that go into those products. If you have plans like, Dream Big and other companies here, big and small, if your SOCs that go into memory modules support any of these features and you want to surface them, for example, now would be a good time to say, hey, I want to, want my perspective to be covered. Okay. Yeah. And I'm glad to collect and bring that information back to this team.
Yeah, that makes sense. And if you can't, I mean, this is a good opportunity and good team for this to discuss. I know we are 1 minute over, but I think what we'll start next week is basically this list of presentation on OCP Global Summit. And then if you can get a first draft going towards the white paper, at least the content-wise, Samir, we can work on that. And then Pankaj, if you do get somebody who is going to bring near memory compute presentation use case, drop me a note, then we can try to schedule it for the next week agenda or week after.
Okay.
So Pankaj, this is Brian, you're going to reach out to me then?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, guys. Hey, thank you very much. I'll see you guys next week.
Bye, Manoj.
Bye.